from Proverbs chapter 4. Before we look at it, I want to remind you today, be in prayer for Wilson and Pam Webb. So Proverbs chapter 4, Solomon still teaching us about wisdom. Man, this guy loves wisdom. He even starts talking about his childhood himself and his experience with his father, because he's kind of like a father to us in this moment, and he's giving us instruction because he wants to protect us. He wants us to have insight for daily living and for living a life that honors God, to protect us from the world that we live in, right? And so he feels like a father to those who he is instructing. That's the heart in which he's doing it. And it reminds him of when he was little Solomon sitting on King David's knee, and David spoke to him and taught him about the importance of wisdom and of seeking after the things that please God. He says in here, the beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. I think that is an interesting statement. I don't think it's taking anything away from when he said the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. He's making a statement here about the fact that we don't just stumble into wisdom. Now, we can learn things from what happens to us in our life, but we have to be looking for wisdom. We have to be focused and wanting to gain knowledge, gain spiritual insight, and purpose ourselves that we are going to walk in a way that pleases God. And so part of what he's saying here is that wisdom is a choice. Having spiritual understanding, it's not just something that comes about if you're not focused on it. It is a choice that we make. And he illustrates this partly as he goes through the chapter. He talks about the path of the wicked and the path of the righteous. Walking on a path is something that you choose to do, and there's a contrast between the path that the wicked walk. It's a path of destruction, a path of darkness. They stumble around, they don't know where they're going, as opposed to choosing to walk on the path of righteousness, the path of seeking wisdom, the path of light and of following God, of adhering to his word, seeking to understand his word. I particularly appreciate, and it just stood out to me, the last few verses of this chapter. Let's say verse 25, and he's talking about walking this path. He says, "Let your eyes look directly forward, and your gaze be straight before you. Ponder the path of your feet, then all your ways will be sure. Do not swerve to the right or to the left. Turn your foot away from evil." I don't go for a walk on a path and not watch where I'm going. I'm focused on where my feet are going to fall, because I don't want to stumble. I don't want to go on the wrong path. And I think that's the image that he gives us here. It's an image of life. It is so easy to be distracted by just the people on the other path, the people who are walking on the path of the wicked. And if we're not careful, we can find ourselves veering into that path. And so much of the instructions that he gives here is a safeguard. Where's your foot landing? Are you practicing things like evil thoughts or evil speech or complacency or laziness? And he goes in, and I'm sure we'll talk about so many of these practical things, instructions, safeguards. He wants you to look at where your feet are landing and be smart about it and ask the question, am I following the path of righteousness? Am I going the way God wants me to go? And I think what I appreciate from this chapter is he's just reminding you and me and himself that it's a choice. The beginning of wisdom is get wisdom. Be focused. Keep your eyes in front of you and watch where your feet are going. I am thankful for this passage today. If God spoke something to you out of it, I'd ask you to leave us a message on Facebook, on YouTube, and remember, minister to one another. Let's take care of each other. God bless you guys, and thank you so much for taking time.